kind of sobering, given that everywhere you go now, everything is pretty much wide open. So it's just a sign. Hey, still got to wear your mask. Do your part. Social distance. Obviously, there are some people out there who are not doing those things, and we'll catch up with the Department of Public Health and find out who they are and what the penalty was. As we get Janela Carrera and Malou Scroggs, I believe it's going to be Malou. Janela said she was going to bring someone from environmental health on to talk about some of these inspections that have been happening. 726, we're in danger of being backed up as we got the mayors coming on, but I really wanted to get Labor Director Dave Dell'isola on the show this morning. I know it's last second. Dave, I want to thank you so much for joining us, though.
Always a pleasure.
And we'll just kind of go over the news that came out on, I want to say was it Friday, Jay?
Yes.
Yes.
Friday from the Congressman Mike Nicholas's office is
I got.
right. So the announcement came from Congressman Nicholas's office, but it was actually news that was released in the latest guidance from, was it a labor guidance or a Treasury guidance, Dave?
It came to me from the Department of Labor. I got it like at 4 o'clock in the morning. We were just trying to review everything, make sure that we got a clear understanding. And I briefed the governor to make sure that, before I say anything, I need to make sure that everything was, as I understand it to be, so that when we report it, the people are informed. But it pretty much fell into place just like I called it. The second solution was a solution from the Secretary of Labor announcing a new additional criteria under KK, and that was what he did. And so, it paid off. We wrote the letter to him. I worked it very hard in the last couple of days with the people at USDOL from San Francisco all the way up to Washington, D.C. They understood the problem. They sympathized with us, and they told us what to say in the letter. And the governor put in her plea and her reasoning, and I worked it hard. And I think we all worked hard as the island. They heard, they follow our news, believe it or not. They have 2 people assigned in Dallas that does, that one of their duties is to pull up the news, listen to them, and know what's going on Guam. And they collectively heard our voices. And I think that had a lot to do with us getting through to them. And I've never gotten through so many times with USDOL. They've responded to every plea, every reason, every question that I had, and I'm quite pleased with the arrangement and the partnership we have with them. And I just want to thank them, and I want to thank our region for listening to us and to answering our call. So yes, reduced hours is allowed. And not only did they do the reduced hours, but they also covered another little thorn in our back, is that if you read JJ, your business had to be closed for you to be laid off. And they covered that too, which was something that I was trying to work, before I had to do another announcement. But now your business can be open and you got laid off because of COVID, and you can still qualify. So that JJ was really restrictive, and it was really designed for a pandemic where everything was shutting down and people were getting laid off.
Right.
And these new criterias are really designed for recovery, from the pandemic. So I'm just so happy, right. And people can start, as I asked them to hold off before applying, they can start applying now, and they can start putting in their weeks of reduced hours. Please, you have to remember to take your weekly earnings and divide it up to each day and put them in properly. That is one of the biggest sticklers with the overpayments, is that people improperly put in their income.
Dave,
so good news, and I'm glad to announce that, to our island and to our people that, hard work paid off and they listened to us.
Can we talk a little bit about the retro portion of it? Because right, nobody filed because we said, hey, it's not going to be covered, so don't file. So people are going to be paid retroactively for reduced hours, Dave?
Yes. Uh, as you know, a majority of the people from the before December 26th filed all the way up, and it was after that date when we started our new program. The old PUA expired on the 27th. So any of those people that had a claim before dated before December 26th can go back as far from to the beginning of when they were affected and file for reduced hours, but most of them already did. It was after December 27th and the new start of the Continued Assistance Act that was passed and started that they were forced not to apply. So after that, you can start applying. Now, those who filed new claims after December 27th know that you can only go back till the beginning of December. That's December 1st. That's as far back you can go retro. If you did put in a claim and you filed it under the PUA 2 program. So yes, you can go back and retro yourself. So majority of the people already had claims already put in, and they can go back and get themselves up to date and collect.
So if I'm a worker who is on reduced hours and I heard it on the link that, oh, it's not covered, so I didn't file, I can now go today and go on the website and file back to December 1st.
If you're newly filed, if you've already had an existing claim, you can go back as far as you didn't file your reduced hours to. So it's up to you. Majority of the people filed all the way up to December 26th under the old PUA program, and then they were told to stop after that. So they would just go back until for January 2nd, which is the first week of the PUA 2 program.
Yeah.
So basically, only those that have to be concerned are those who filed a new claim on the 27th of December or later. They are only able to go back till December 1st under the new extension of the PUA program. And everybody else can go back as far as they want.
Okay. And then the other change that you said under JJ, this had to do with businesses. There was a ruling that your business had to be closed because of COVID or something, right? So can you just clarify that other change to this latest round of the PUA?
Yeah, you brought up a good point that I wanted to clarify. So when you file your weekly claims, and there's those boxes that that you have to check off that for the reason why you are filing for PUA, JJ is your place of business is closed, and you were, so that's where you were laid off or furloughed. So that is only going to apply for people whose businesses are closed and they were laid off. Now, anybody who's on reduced hours or anybody who was laid off and the business is open, they would use the last box, which is other reason not listed here. That's the criteria box. That's the catch-all that the Secretary of Labor we're using. So we are working. It may take a week, 2 weeks or so to adjust that other to cover all those additional criteria. But in the meanwhile, you use other for the reduced hours, and if you're furloughed or laid off and your business is open.
We had a comment here, Dave, from Aaron, little snarky. How is Congressman St. Nicholas able to work with U.S. Department of Labor and you did not? In short, you did not work hard for the people of Guam, the U.S. DOL, towards this matter. Do you deserve to be our DOL director? Just saying. Could you kind of, Dave, I mean, I don't want you to get into a pissing match with this commenter, but I know that the governor and you and the congressman had all been in communication with U.S. Department of Labor.
I basically worked with the USDOL and came up with the two solutions that was approved by USDOL. And that was, of course, to pass a statute change by the congressman And the congressman said that no, he didn't want to do that. So the other solution was to write the Secretary of Labor and ask him to put in additional criteria under KK, and that's exactly what happened. The governor wrote to the Secretary of Labor. I forwarded all those letters. I worked with the U.S. Department of Labor, and they were able to change it. It's exactly like I said would happen. So all she has to do is listen to your show or to any of my past statements, and she would know that to listen to what I said, and it happened exactly what I said. So I don't know what she means. She just misguided.
Yeah. Yeah, Aaron. So the way it played out was that this was something that there are other jurisdictions, states that were having the same problem with Guam. And so we had this three-pronged approach where it was Mr. Dell'isola, the governor, and the congressman all kind of working in concert, just really on the full blast trying to resolve this thing. But it was a guidance from USDOL that came out, like David said, at 4 in the morning. And it kind of seems like and you know, politics is politics, right? The congressman is a politician, the governor is a politician. So everyone is trying to like get the credit for the win on this. And the guidance came out at 4 in the morning. And I think the only thing the congressman did better than you, Dave, was he got it out to the public first, and it gave the perception that he kind of solved it.
Yeah, I could have brought it out first, but I need to be careful. I need to make sure that the people are well informed. I need to make sure that they know exactly what it's talking about, and I need to be careful that I say what is truly true and correct, and not give out anything that's not correct. So that's what I chose to do, and I'm not here to get first one out or second one out. It doesn't matter to me. All I cared about is that we did all work together to solve it, and it happened exactly one of the ways that it came about. And I'm so happy that USDOL listened to us and solved it. And we're moving forward, and we continue to. That's why they put in that criteria, is because the initial way the PUA was passed lacked that information, and that's why the Secretary of Labor had to put in a new criteria. And I'll keep saying that
right.
The way the initial PUA was written lacked the ability for us to work reduced hours, and the only way to fix it was either through statute or the Secretary of Labor. That's what he did.
I just want to read the congressman's statement, because he was a little, he's always got to throw these little barbs, and he did throw one in his statement that came out here. And this is for immediate release, reduced hours PUA will be paid. This is Friday, 9 o'clock in the morning. In guidance issued February 25th, the U.S. Department of Labor has clarified that reduced hours workers shall be eligible for PUA and FPUC and eligible for accumulated retroactive payments therefrom. I just want to say that had Dave been wrong about this from the get-go, there wouldn't have been a new guidance issued. They would have just said, hey, read your existing guidance. So that kind of says something. But the quote from the congressman, the support of our congressional colleagues in the prioritization of the Biden administration to ensure policy implementation aligns with statute has prevailed today. Open Congressman to Nicholas. As we have previously repeatedly asserted, this was not a problem with the law as so alleged, but a problem in interpretation. And we are grateful to the Biden administration for providing clarity in the midst of confusion. We can now all rest easy that our reduced hours workers will continue to receive the support they need as they work however they can to contribute to the opening of our economy. So he's still on this you don't know how to read thing. But you know what? Who cares?
We all worked together, and I'm sure the Biden administration, gave some guidance to the Secretary of Labor acting, and everything that we did contributed one way or another. So I want to thank him for that. And coming from his perspective, of course, he's not going to feel that any laws were miswritten or mispassed. I mean, that's his bread and butter, and it's fixed, Chris. So
yeah. There was one other thing, Dave. I wanted to. Sorry. So we had a comment from Jerry, and I think I saw this in the guidance somewhere. Now that reduced hours is allowed, there was a big gap from filing a claim. Dave, has the time limit for requesting payment for unclaimed weeks, has that passed, or is everything still okay? Because I did see something about if you didn't file by a certain date, then
That's the December 27th when the new PUA program came out. That if you filed a new claim after the 27th, then you can only go back to beginning of December. If that's what I think you're saying, that's the only uh, restriction there is. If you had an old claim before then you can go back and forth all the way back to the beginning of when you were first affected in March or whenever it was, if you didn't file already, which I can't imagine anybody's like that.
right on. Is there a time frame to be scheduled on those pending appeals? This is a comment from Marhart.
No, we've heard several hundred appeals, either formally or informally, and we just keep continuing to hit them out. I mean, that's my whole afternoon basically,
Right.
is hearing those reconsiderations, and we have an appeal officer that's doing it all afternoon and all mornings. So we continue to hear them, and we continue to get them out as much as we can, and make those rulings. So we're doing the best we can with that.
Dave, just real quick on this, there's a grant you guys got, $1.7 million for 100 additional pandemic jobs. Can we get a little something on that?
Yeah, well, we're real happy that we got, it was close to 6 million total, and that's going to be used to help retrain and reskill our unemployed people because of COVID. So if you're unemployed because of COVID and you want to try to get into a new career or a new occupation, then stay tuned. We'll be working with our training partners like GCC Trades Academy, Guam Marianas Training Center, UOG, to offer classes or boot camps or whatever you want to call them, and get certified into a new, heavy equipment operation, medical code and billing, certified nursing assistants. These are positions that are always in demand and they pay very high. And we're going to use those millions of dollars to train people and help them get, out of whatever occupation that they were in and into something new, better, and in demand. And it's a start. And as we recover and PCOR 3 is in, we loosen up and classroom training can start going on, we'll start working with them and getting them out. So just listen to the media, listen to your show, and we will announce what's going to be available when it comes available.
Sorry, Dave. Last comment from John in Arahan. So are we able to claim from December 27th to present on the portal? It doesn't allow to claim further.
Say that again?
Are we able to claim from December 27th to present on the portal? It doesn't allow us to claim further.
Then there might be something wrong with your, and you might need to get staff to adjust it. But no, you should be able to go in there. If you haven't filed for 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks, it sometimes as a stopgap, it can stop you from filing because you haven't filed in a while. And staff just needs to flip the switch for you to allow you to go back that far and restart your claim. So that might be another possibility. But yes, you should be able to file if you're only several weeks behind. But if you're up like 6, 8 weeks behind, you might have to reach out to staff 311, and we'll flip the switch for your claim to basically reopen it and allow you to keep filing.
Are we getting people to answer at 311? Because I just heard a collective groan from everybody who's like, "Oh, not 311." Oh God.
I know. It's tough. I mean, I have like 20 people answering phones, and when they answer a phone, it takes anywhere from 10 to 40 minutes per person because they're fixing the claim. They have to go in. They have to find out what the problem is. Then they have to fix it, and then and then they hang up, and then the phone rings right again. And it's just it's tough, because we need a month to train these people on how to go into a system like that and work with it. But you know, I keep hearing people say, yeah, you can get through. It just takes effort and continuous time. And you can reach out to the libraries and they can fix you there. And, you know, uh, try to make an appointment if you need to have hands-on. We will be opening up for walk-ins shortly. We're just trying to get everything geared up so that it's safe. And so if they don't get through real soon, then just keep trying and you can go back to the beginning when you do. And, you know, hopefully we can even fix it right then and there for you.
Just real quick, Dave. Sorry. For those unemployed since March or April 2020 and they don't register until 2021, can they still claim for March and April till present?
No, if they're putting in a new claim after December 27th,
Gotcha.
which is the new Continuing Assistance Act, then they can only go back to December 1st. That was Congress's new law that, you know, for the extension of the PUA program. That they, you know, they figured if you had from March all the way to December, which was the end of the program, to file. And if you didn't and you wait until the new program, then they're going to only take you to December 1st. That's not my decision. That was what was passed.
I kind of feel like they should have been on top of it last year. You know, okay, it is what it is.
Yeah, you know, they should have. If they really needed the money, and it's all the way back since March, they've had plenty of opportunities.
Plenty. All right, Dave. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Best
for allowing me to come on. It's always a pleasure.
Always. All right, Dave Dell'isola, Labor Director. John Bucat, are there still satellites that we can walk in for this issue? Yes, I believe the libraries are what David mentioned. Guys, and so when you call 301, this is funny. Some of these comments here. Rosemary Laguatnier writes, hopefully it won't take 40 minutes to flip a switch. John writes, no one ever answers. Jay Key writes, no one ever answers. Yeah, well, like David said, just to explain, I'm not defending them, but just to explain, when you call 311 and you get a live person, first of all, it's a miracle. But when you do get that live person and you're sitting there talking to them, everyone else on Guam is calling while you're talking to that person and the phone is ringing and no one is answering. So that's why you got to just keep calling. Guys, this is even before the pandemic. Gov Guam never answered the phone. I did a whole skit about it. This is nothing new. What do you think? Like, because we're in a pandemic, all of a sudden they're going to answer the phone? No. They didn't answer it before the pandemic.